It's the Billy Revolution. It's up to you. Billy Revolution. Here's what you gotta do. The Billy Revolution. A quadrilateral grow. Under your chin, not in the center though. Cause it's the Billy Revolution. It's the Billy Revolution. It's the Billy Revolution. Billy Revolution. Welcome to Billy Revolution, episode 4, season 2. It's the prop issue, and of course, we forgot the props last week, which I feel very badly about. So I've got some very... Ow! Ow! Get off me! You're hurting my back! Ouch! 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 Oh, I'm hurting! I'm hurting! Rough play is terrible! Rough play is terrible! My back is broken! I've died on the road! This week, we're going to look at rough housing and rough play in schoolyards and other places, and what it means to be a mammal in this 21st century, and why I think we have lost track of some of the things that are really essential for children to learn as they grow up. First of all, both boys and girls, many boys and girls have a proclivity for roughhousing. That means they like grabbing each other's shoulders, tackling each other, putting each other in headlocks, and all sorts of things like that. A perfect example of this is snow hills. There are many boys and girls that love having to negotiate pushing and shoving on a hill and get surprised attacks from behind and surprise other people from behind and keep track of who's pushed them more than they pushed, etc., etc. Now, there's children who don't have a natural proclivity for this as well. And I think most of them grew up and became the dominant voice in child rearing. The dominant voice, at least, that Canadian schoolyards and Canadians in general think about. There's nothing malicious in this type of play. It can turn malicious, just like anything else, and people can get angry if they've been tackled more times or if a competitive feeling gets grabbed. But I think what's really important is that mammals, this is how they learn so many things. This is how animals in the wild learn how to get along and skills, normal physical skills. And so there's a biological push for children to be touching each other and wrestling with each other and playing with each other. Just a very, very normal part of childhood. And you'll have adults say things like, they shouldn't be pushing each other on the hill and hurting each other. And it's the same sort of naive approach that little children will have watching some animals playing, dogs playing that look like they're fighting, or bears playing, and bear mamas and cubs playing, where they're learning skills. They're learning how to adapt into the environment. And just because we live in a very imprisoned sort of cities, many of us live in imprisoned sort of cities, that craving to be touching another human being, wrestling with them and playing with them is still innate in so many children. And by limiting children's ability to have this access, and by pretending that these desires and this enjoyment, excitement, and all the learning that goes on during this, to pretend that that isn't the case simply because we have a sort of a paranoid philosophy and we are straitjacketed by a very strange sense of danger that isn't even true. It doesn't mean that we don't have to overcome that. So perceptions of danger and actual danger can be so far from one another that we have people living in an entirely what if sort of environment. What if he falls, and when he falls he hits his head on the ice and that causes him to have an asthma attack, which causes him... And we have to be really honest with ourselves that that there's 8 billion people on the planet. Everything has some risk associated with it. And yes, maybe some people will get hurt in schools across Canada playing games like this. Yes, some people might end up not being able to move the bottom of their body. They maybe end up paraplegics. And we have to stop saying that because there may be one paraplegic in Canada, if we let kids play the way kids want to play, that's a reason to stop every kid in Canada from playing. And that's the problem with right now is we have so many children who don't want to go outside and play because we've made going outside and playing everything that it's not intended to be. Hope you have a good week. Hope you have a chance to roll around and tackle somebody, and have a lot of fun doing it. We'll see you next week. You and I are quite alike. You drove your car, baby. I brought my bike. You know that it is such a funny game when we pretend we're just the same. Melinda has heard that playing outside is very important for children, so she's taken her 2 children to the backyard. She's put helmets on them and some protective leg gear and arm gear and some protective things on their chests, and she's stood and watched them stand around the backyard for 25 minutes, then proudly goes into her house knowing that the kids had some fresh air. Dela took her kids, threw them outside, told them to play and have a good time. They're doing the same thing! It's the Billy Revolution. It's up to you. Billy Revolution. Here's what you gotta do. The Billy Revolution. A quadrilateral grow under your chin, not in the center though, 'cause it's the Billy Revolution. It's the Billy Revolution. It's the Billy Revolution. Billy Revolution.